Flash, flash, 100-yard dash. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails. I wanted to talk for a while about the new speed meta, and it's not like brand new, but it's kind of been creeping up on us. And I remember when we used to say that 300 speed was like the pinnacle, or kind of like if we could get to 300 speed, mostly you're just good to go. And that, you know, now that we have mod slicing and we have a bunch of character kits that have been released lately, that just kind of like throw that aside, that like it's worth exploring the idea that a lot of teams and a lot of characters can actually get to 400 speed, or they're really close to it. So I know I'm being slightly facetious here by saying it's 400 plus, but not that much. It's not that much of a stretch, guys. And you know, with a few other mechanics, this is also like no Galactic Legends involved here. Like obviously Galactic Legends are faster than 400, or at least if you put speed mods on them, but in this case, folks, this is all just teams outside of Galactic Legends. So lots of interesting stuff. Just want to remind you guys, if you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment, something to help us mount the algorithm, etc. But let's actually just forget about all that and talk about speed mods and the madness that is transpiring or ensuing, or maybe both. Whoa, we're in the game madness. How did we get in the game? Whoa. All right, guys. So we're gonna try this with a weird little overlay thing. We'll see how that works. So, all right. First off, we've got General Grievous with BB-8, and this one is perhaps the most obvious 400 speed plus. You can get to, if you take BB-8, you take 2 or 4 other droids, and because BB-8 gives everyone on the team, all droids, so he takes all the droids and then you add plus 0.8% per droid. Yeah, so let's see. So droid allies gain 8% turn meter for each active droid ally. So 8%, you take that, if there's 5 total droids to start with, then you start with 40% turn meter. And remember, turn meter isn't speed. It's not the same thing. It's talking about like, okay, you've gotten this much turn meter. How much compared with your speed do you have left? So it's like, okay, you have 60% of your turn meter bar left. So instead of timesing it, we're dividing it. And you guys can test it if you want. It's tried and true. It really does work this way. So BB-8 gives everyone speed divided by 0.6. And that means that my General Grievous, for instance, he is at 270 speed, I believe, which is actually very fast for him, especially because I'm maintaining the good health and okay potency at least. But he, he ends up being like 450 speed or something totally ludicrous, because if you do it times 0.6, so he can outspeed the Mara Jade teams, basically, or the Starkiller with Mara Jade teams. So, you know, B1, I would like to get him just a little bit slower than Grievous. He's like 3 speed faster right now, but that's one of the most obvious ones, guys. The next one is this weird Maul team, and so there's a few different ways to do it. Remember that Maul, if you're using Maul with his, as a leader, then he's going to, well, he always starts with Frenzy. He always starts with Frenzy here. And Frenzy just means that if one of your friends, one of your allies uses a special ability, then he immediately gains 100% turn meter. So it doesn't matter how fast he is. He's actually very fast, like very personally fast. Like you can see 318, with an offense set, that's not too bad on his own. But then when you add him together with this Droidica or with Watt, and then you take Canderous, because Canderous also, he kind of, just like my typing skills, apparently I typed currently, that's pretty awesome. That's currently annoying me. But here's the thing, guys. He's kind of bugged right now. So what happens with him is, let's see. So it says, whenever an enemy with a damage over time effect is damaged by an attack, Canderous gains 8% turn meter. The problem with this is, guys, it's bugged right now, like I keep saying. And because Maul, whenever he takes a turn, everyone continues to, like, everyone assists. Canderous gains 8% turn meter every time someone hits the character that is being assisted. Doesn't matter if they don't have a damage over time, he just gains that turn meter. So who knows when it's going to be fixed. CG hasn't even acknowledged it as a bug, but you know, he causes dots when he does his basic, but he even gets, with his first shot, he gets turn meter. So he can be slow as heck and still, like, so, like, you know, Maul, he gives him 8% turn meter. Canderous gives himself 24 extra percent turn meter. All of the other guys hitting, you know, if you have other Mandalorians with them, they're all gaining him a bunch of turn meter. Then all he has to do is go with his AoE. So what happens is, Watt would go first because he gets a bonus turn. That he does one of his specials. He gives some tech to Maul or something like that. Maul gets his bonus turn, or gets 100% turn meter because of the movement, because of the special. And then he does his AoE. And then that calls all the Mandalorians to assist. And then Canderous goes. Canderous takes, you know, everyone assists, and then Canderous goes and he does his special. Maul still has Frenzy, and he takes another turn and he goes. So with Watt, it's kind of foolproof. With Droideka, you have to work for it a little bit more, because Droideka he seems really slow, but you can make him kind of fast. Mine used to be significantly faster. I need to actually either make him faster or stop. But he gains 50. He gets an extra 50% of his speed on top of this. So, like, what happens is Droideka has plus 50% speed and evasion. Woo! Unless it has damage immunity. So he doesn't have damage immunity, so he's plus 50 speed. So just keep in mind Droideka's speed times 1.5, because it's just straight up speed, it's not turn meter. And so if Droideka goes first, he can roll up, and, you know, you can make Droideka almost 400 speed on his own. Anyways, so, you know, that works. That's pretty fancy. All right, next up, we're going to talk about the Jango Kuiil team, and this one almost doesn't need to be mentioned, but a lot of people have asked me, why do you run Jango lead with this squad? And the answer is, like, you don't gain that much. Like, he's mostly a bounty hunter's lead, but he has one little thing at the very top. Scoundrel allies have plus 30 speed, and then, you know, enemies have less potency. Like, it's kind of nice. So, but it's for each debuff on all bounty hunter allies, and, you know, less tenacity. Blah 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 blah. You guys can read it all if you want. But the end result is you have a Kuiil that starts outspeeding a lot of different teams and messes with a lot of people. So, you know, my Kuiil in my current group is actually the slowest at 350. It's a plus 168 set, so it's pretty quick. But some people, like one of my last opponents, had a 364 speed set with Kuiil, and that gets you to an effective, like, 380 speed. Well, 380 for me. For him, it was like a 390 something if you put Jango lead. So you can do that if you want to, but that means you start outspeeding like trooper teams and you know, a lot of different teams. It really is very close to 400 speed. So, let's see, next up, we've got Starkiller with Mara Jade. And Mara Jade is one of the fastest characters in the game currently. And so what happens is, this is in GAC only, you take Starkiller's Omicron, and, alright, so first off, he just, let's see, is this the right one? No. Why wouldn't it be? That one always looks like he's skiing, doesn't it, guys? Alright, so in GAC, all allies have plus 35 speed. That's great. But so that's in GAC. But then he also gives everyone else 35 speed on top of that. So he gives 35 speed even outside of GAC. But in GAC, he gives another 35, which means that Mara Jade is going to be plus 70 speed. Everyone is going to be plus 70 speed. Starkiller himself at 260 speed. I mean, mine isn't that that fast, but he's not bad. He's like a 330 speed on his own anyways. But the really cool thing is Mara Jade can get to be really fast. You can make her even faster, obviously, but 365 speed, that gets her to a pretty easy 430 speed, something like that. So that's why I have my General Grievous so fast, is so I can match Mara Jade. She easily gets to over 400, and if she starts getting the turn meter train going, you may not get a turn. I've had it that I've used bounty hunters to outspeed Mara Jade and everyone, and I'm able to kill Starkiller, and then Mara Jade just goes crazy. She starts getting the turn meter, and I don't get a single turn. Even after I've killed Starkiller, I lose with bounty hunters there. So you actually, the strat is kill Mara Jade first and then Starkiller, as crazy as that sounds. All right, next we've got bounty hunters, and bounty hunters are. It's complicated, guys. You'll have to do your own math, but what happens is you get the Zam Omicron, and the Omicron, there's a lot of things that happen. So she gets another. So in Grand Arena, she gains, let's see, 60% increases to all this stuff, 5% speed for each other bounty hunter ally. So she gets 20% speed. Off of that, then and this is here unique, remember, so other bounty hunter allies gain 20% of her current offense, max health, blah, 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 and speed until the first time she is defeated. So you have to figure out what speed she's going to be, and then you figure out from there how much speed she's going to give all of the other bounty hunters, and from there you can calculate how fast everyone's going to be. And then you have the complex calculations of trying to make sure that Mandalorian is not so fast that he outspeeds Losk and Greef. If you guys want to learn about this, they've actually made a video about how to calculate the Zam speeds. You guys can search for that. I'll try to put it in the link in the video description. I may forget, though, frankly. It's pretty late. I may forget. But the idea, though, is you do want Bosk to be a little bit faster than Greef. So 335 on my Bosk, and then my Greef is 324. So obviously, a little bit of discrepancy. I need Bosk to be a little bit faster even then, because I need him to be able to outspeed characters like Cat in a Jedi Master Kenobi team, etc. But just so I can snipe out Cat if I need to use bounty hunters for that. But the thing is, Zam is going to give everyone somewhere in the range of like 60 to 80 speed, depending on how fast you get her. Like, get her to 300, and I think she gives right now 72 or 73 speed to the bounty hunters. And so, like right now, my Bosk is legitimately in GAC. My Bosk is legitimately more than 400 speed. Now, the team is limited by how fast Greef is, which Greef is going to be just a little bit slower than that, just a tiny bit slower than 400. But at the end of the day, you can pretty easily, if you've farmed all the mods, and granted, I know that not everyone has all these crazy mods, but if you have all the mods, then this team is pretty easily over 400 speed. Next up, we're going to talk about Mon Mothma and Kuiil Katarn. Here's the thing, guys. The turn meter train is real on the Mon Mothma team. It is totally crazy, but it's also reliant on a bunch of RNG factors. We're not going to talk about all the RNG stuff, such as Hoth Rebel Scout only proccing his turn meter gain for the whole rest of the squad about 40% of the time, Pow gaining a bunch of turn meter based off of basics and everything, but Kuiil Katarn himself makes this squad incredibly quick, and it's very approachable. I need to switch his mods to offense and everything, so don't copy my mods, but here's the thing about him. He gains a bunch. We got to be careful. Don't apply the Omicron. Don't apply the stupid freaking Omicron. Here's the thing about him, though. He gains 10% turn meter for each other rebel fighter ally. What happens there is it says each other rebel fighter, so it doesn't include him, and then Mon Mothma isn't included either, but he gets 30% of that, and remember, it's turn meter to start with. It's just effective starting speed, and then he slows way down, which is fine. If you're running him in territory battles, it's a little bit different, but Kuiil Katarn's speed is just going to be divided by 0.7. And then, I mean, the rest of the squad just goes and goes and goes. He's the one who gets it started. And so, like, mine is 284. I think once you get him to 280 flat, then it makes him an effective 400 speed. So mine's just a hair over 400 speed. Pretty dang fancy. That's why he's a really good character for this team, guys. He really is. And, you know, I mean, everyone knows that. But he's hard to farm, though, isn't he? Okay, so next up, we've got Darth Revan with Talon, and this one's a little bit harder. It's a little more of a reach. So you can make Darth Revan, if you have the right speed mods, you can get him to around 360 speed. And then Darth Talon gives him 20 speed. You can make him up to, 380-ish. If you put him under like a Sith Eternal squad or something like that, and then you put Darth Talon in there, Sith Eternal will give him 40 speed. Darth Talon will give him another 20. You can make him somewhere around 420 if you want to put him with the Galactic Legends. I know I said no Galactic Legends shenanigans, so we won't actually, show that graphic or anything, but just something to keep in mind. You can make a super speed Darth Revan. I don't know if it's worth it, frankly, but there are some people who are doing it. I mean, 355 is fairly common for where I'm at. My own Darth Revan is super slow, so don't copy me if you want to have a fast Darth Revan. But yeah, 317 is just really, it's probably too slow, but I don't know, something's got to give, guys. So Darth Talon gives Darth Revan that. Keep in mind that Darth Talon gives that plus 20 speed regardless. There's two different things that happen with her kit. This unique, is only if all allies are Sith at the start of battle, then it does all this cool stuff. The other one, however, is... Oh, hold on. Alright, we are back. We got a crash on BlueStacks while we're making this video. So the thing about this other one, guys, is that it happens... so Darth Talon gains all this stuff. So Sith allies gain extra health, offense, all this stuff, regardless. So you can put Talon with Darth Revan and then like 3 rebels or something if you want to do that. Not that you want to, but if you wanted to do that, it still applies to Darth Revan there. You don't get the other unique, but you do. So the other thing that I want to point out with Darth Revan, guys, is his ferocity. As you gain stacks of ferocity, you'll have to find out how you gain ferocity, but it's fairly easy. Then you gain 15% defense and tenacity per stack. 8% offense and potency per stack can't be copied. You also gain speed for it. I don't see where the speed thing is, though. Maybe it's under his leadership. Let's see. He does gain 15. Oh yeah, here we go. So 15 speed for each of their own debuffs. So it's not just, it's not just ferocity, but ferocity is the gimmick. So you can actually get him to ludicrous speed. That's why he doesn't really care if like he's facing Jedi Knight Luke or something, and Luke reduces his speed because Darth Revan is already most of the time plus 150 speed on top of everything else. So Darth Revan, it kind of makes himself 400 speed on his own, really, with ferocity. But anyways. So next up, we've got Veers lead Troopers, guys. So, I mean, pretty obvious that Gideon is one of the fastest characters in the game. I haven't maxed him out, but, I mean, he's fast enough for what I need him for. So, Veers gives him plus 20 speed from his leadership. So, mine is at 388 speed. There are plenty of people who have him considerably faster. You can get him to very close to, or maybe even over 400 speed with the Veers leadership. So, do the turn meter train, make sure you have the bridge. You guys can search for my faction essentials on Troopers and see how that works. Next up we have Iden Versio, and hold on. Alright, thanks for waiting. Thanks for holding on for like literally less than a second because I hit the pause button. Okay, I hit the wrong button on the slides though. So Iden Versio, she gives everyone 35 speed. That's fine. That's not really enough to deter her that much. Here's the thing about her though, guys. The thing that is really awesome about Iden Versio is, and I should have put it in the little thumbnail thing here, but she gets that 100, she gains 100% turn meter at the start of each encounter. So she always goes first, so it's Han who goes first, and then it's Wat, and then it's Iden, like regardless of how fast anyone else is. She is the fastest, and it's kind of fun. She's a good character. She's almost overpowered, frankly, but let's not dwell on that. So, CLS Rebels, guys. We're not even going to take time on this one. So, Han shoots first, you get a bunch of TM, and It's great. You guys know how that works. Next, we're going to talk about Qui-Gon, Jinn, and Jedi. So, there's two ways. Here's the thing. If you don't have a 7-star Ki-Adi-Mundi, he's actually very useful on the Qui-Gon team because he gives plus 30 speed to Galactic Republic Jedi if all of the squad is Galactic Republic. So, you need that Zeta, plus 30 speed. You guys can see, but it has to be if all allies are Galactic Republic Jedi, then they get all this cool stuff. So, I mean, that's nice for Anakin. He gets the offense, he gets the speed and everything, but then obviously Qui-Gon Jinn also gives plus 30 speed, so the whole team is plus 60 speed if you keep Galactic Republic Jedi. There's also incentives in Anakin's kit to make him hit harder because of the Galactic Republic. 100% more damage if all allies were Galactic Republic at the start of the battle, and so that's pretty fancy. If they convert to like Separatist halfway through, then it still holds that damage. I'm so funny. But, you can make him pretty quick. He's plus 60 speed with that setup, and, plus 30 if you don't want to do that. So, you're not really, you could maybe, if you really wanted to, you could get him up to, if you got him to 340 speed, I think that's probably possible. I don't know if you want to, if that matters that much. I mean, he'll do more damage if you do that, though. Like a speed set on him at this point is maybe more effective than an offense set. In fact, he's just less versatile that way. All right, next you have Dash, and Dash always just gives he gives all the Scoundrels plus 20 speed from his leadership. So keep in mind, it's 10% potency and 10% speed, and so that 10% speed, but it's doubled if they're Scoundrels. Doubled for light side Scoundrels. So, it's pretty cool. It just light side Scoundrel though, guys. So just keep in mind if it's a dark side support Scoundrel, which I don't even know if we have one. We probably do, but you don't gain that in that case. Next up we have, and this is kind of dubious, but keep in mind Rex. If you get Rex up to 334 speed with all 501st besides Shaak T, then Rex is going to, well, I guess with General Skywalker, he's going to get to 400 speed on his own. But if you wanted to go with Shaak T lead for some silly reason, like you usually don't want to do that, but sometimes you want to, Shaak T is going to give clones plus 35 speed. Remember though, his unique gets calculated first, and then her leadership is applied. So he's going to be like, okay, I'm my speed is, plus 20%, whatever that percentage is. Or, in the case with Shaak lead, it's actually going to be 0.16 or whatever, or 1.16 because he's not gaining it from Shaak T. So you calculate like the extra 16% speed, and then you'll calculate her leadership. Now, Echo, the one I just wanted to point out, he is one of the fastest characters out there now. All these new characters are super fast, and I have mine at an unreasonable speed. I need to slow him down. I just keep rolling good rolls for him. Like this isn't a practical speed to have him at, actually. But if you wanted to put Shaak T lead with him, he'd be over 400 speed as well. I don't know why you would do that unless you just, for some reason, really, really had to go first, which sometimes you really do. So you just lose a lot of the cool stuff. Now, the bonus lightning round here, guys. We've got Commander Ahsoka Tano. She can be super duper fast. I have her like right in the middle. I really need to beef her up. She needs to be more health based at this point, guys. Having her at ludicrous speed is just not as practical as having her at ludicrous health, having her thick rather than speed. So, that's one reason you want to get a Relic 8 at this point. But anyways, she's one of the fastest characters in the game, and if you make her fast enough, then bounty hunters will have a very, very difficult time to actually snipe you out. That's, of course, under the Jedi Master Kenobi lead. Wampa, if you put the Zeta on, granted, you're not necessarily making him fast. You're not giving him speed, but it's just that he gains so much turn meter based off of various interactions. You guys will have to just read it for yourselves, but he gets extremely quick, and he's not 400 speed. That's not really how it works, but he does get to be extremely fast. So, Armor is someone who can just be really fast. I don't have the fastest mods on her, 312, but she can be really fast. She can also be someone who starts off that crazy Maul sequence, but she only gets to be about 350, 360 speed at tops. So a good droideka is going to be significantly stronger option than armor. Plus, armor is a lot of times needed for babysitting duty on Galactic Legends. Hux is someone, I don't know why I really added him, to be honest. He doesn't get very fast, but with Supreme Leader Kylo and his interaction with Kylo, whenever Kylo does specials, he gets a ton of turn meter, and he gets to go next, and his pale self gets to, be a dick that much faster. Barriss is another one who gains a ton of turn meter, she gains 10% turn meter whenever an ally is critically hit. So she gains a lot of turn meter, she gets a lot of turns, and so you don't need to make her fast, but she's... I don't know. She's not really 400 speed. I don't know why she's on that list either. But anyways, guys, just random things to be thinking about. This is the new meta, guys. Tons and tons and tons of speed. Keep in mind the Dash Rendar. I didn't really mention. If you're gonna make him fast, you gotta really commit on his speed. 350 speed. You can make him up to 370. Some people are getting him up to even greater heights. He can be ludicrous speed, obviously. So, it's too bad we can't go with like Jango lead under, with Dash and his lead also apply. Well, it's not too bad, but anyways. All right, we're going to call it good. This video has gone long enough. I hope you guys learned a little something here. It's just something I've been messing around with mentally, like, it really is almost a 400 speed meta at this point. It's not, 300 is not enough. So, alright guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Which squads did I miss? I bet that there's some mechanic that I just totally spaced on how fast you can make the squad. I would love to hear, guys. Let's talk about it. So, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Zereth prevails. I need to farm more mods, for real. It's getting out of hand.